He showed up 2 hours late. On purpose. His opponent had been standing in the cold morning air since dawn. Armor on, sword ready. Nerves wound so tight they were almost snapping. And when Miyamoto Musashi finally strolled in, calm as a man without a care in the world, the fight was already over. He had not drawn his sword yet. He had not thrown a single punch, but he had already won, because he understood something that most people spend their entire lives missing. The battle does not begin with the first blow. It begins the moment someone loses their calm. Welcome to Inspire with Stories. If this is your first time here, this channel is for people who want to think sharper, carry themselves with more strength, and handle life with real composure. Subscribe right now and hit the bell so you never miss a story worth hearing. Now let us talk about the man who may have understood conflict better than anyone who ever lived. Miyamoto Musashi was a 17th century Japanese swordsman who fought in over 60 duels throughout his life. He never lost a single one. Not one. And he did not win them all with superior strength or faster reflexes. He won them with something far more difficult to master. He won them with the mind. Musashi believed, and he wrote this clearly in his book, The Book of Five Rings, that a warrior who can be rattled has already given the enemy his greatest weapon. The enemy does not need to be stronger than you. They just need to make you react before you think. And once you are reacting, you are no longer in control of the situation. Most of us will never hold a sword, but every single one of us faces conflict. At work, in relationships, in traffic, on social media, at family dinners. In negotiations, the question is not whether conflict will find you. It will. The question is whether you will be the one who holds their ground when it does. The most famous duel of Musashi's life was against a man named Sasaki Kajiro. Kajiro was considered by many to be the finest swordsman in all of Japan at the time. He was precise. Was fast. He had a technique called the swallow cut that was almost impossible to defend against. People who had watched him fight said his blade moved like water. And Kajiro knew how good he was. He trained constantly. He sharpened his reputation the way he sharpened his blade. Was ready. Musashi was late to the agreed meeting place on the island of Ganryujima. Historians debate how late exactly. Some say 2 hours. Some say longer. But Kajiro waited, and as he waited, something happened inside him that no amount of training could fix. He started to simmer. The insult of being made to wait burned inside him like coals. When Musashi finally arrived, stepping off a small boat with a wooden sword he had carved from an oar during the ride over, Kajiro was already furious. He screamed at Musashi. He threw his sword scabbard into the sea, a gesture that meant he intended to kill and not merely defeat. Musashi looked at the scabbard floating away and said calmly, "You have already lost." The fight lasted seconds. Kajiro swung with everything he had. Musashi moved at just the right angle, caught him with one precise strike, and it was over. The greatest swordsman in Japan had been beaten not by a better fighter, but by a man who understood how to use time, space, and silence as weapons. Now, here is the part that matters for your life. Musashi did not arrive late, because he was disorganized. He was one of the most disciplined human beings who ever lived. He arrived late. Deliberately. He understood that Kajiro's greatest weakness was not his footwork or his timing. It was his pride, and pride, when it is wounded, creates emotion. And emotion, in a high-stakes situation, creates mistakes. Musashi used the weight as a weapon. He let the silence work. He let the cold morning air do what no blade could do. He let Kajiro defeat himself before the duel even began. Think about how often this happens in your own life. Someone sends you an email that gets your blood up. A coworker takes credit for your idea in a meeting. A person you respect says something in front of others that embarrasses you. And in that moment, the instinct is to respond immediately. To fire back. To let them know you are not someone to be pushed around. But Musashi would tell you something different. He would say that the moment you react from emotion, you have handed them the sword. There's a story about a man named Daniel, a project manager at a mid-sized tech company in Austin, Texas. His team had been working for months on a product launch. The presentation day arrived, and his supervisor, in front of the entire executive team, redirected credit for the project's success toward himself. He glossed over Daniel's contributions entirely. Daniel sat there in that conference room, jaw tight, heart pounding. Every instinct he had was screaming at him to say something, to correct the record right then and there, but he did not. He sat still. He let the meeting finish. A2K notes. He thanked people as they left. Later that week, without drama, without accusation, he sent a detailed project summary to the executive team with clear documentation of every decision, every milestone, and every member of the team who drove the work forward. He did not complain. He did not confront. He simply made the record clear, quietly and professionally. Within a month, 2 of those executives had reached out to him directly for his input on other projects. His supervisor, over time, became less relevant. The work had spoken. A calm man speaks with weight that a reactive one never carries. A calm person makes the room adjust to them, not the other way around. Musashi wrote in the Book of 5 Rings that you should study the timing of everything, not just in combat, but in life. He said that timing is the difference between a cut that lands and a cut that misses, and the only way to feel timing correctly is to be still enough inside to perceive it. When you are flooded with emotion, you cannot feel timing. You swing too early. You respond too fast. You say the thing you will regret. You make the move before the moment is right. The rule is not about being passive. It is not about being a pushover or staying silent forever. Musashi was not a peaceful man by nature. He was a warrior, but he chose when to strike. He did not let others choose for him by pushing his buttons. Here is how this works in real life. The next time someone says something that makes your chest tighten, try this. Do not respond for 10 seconds, not 10 minutes, not a day. Just 10 seconds. Breathe once, slow and deliberate, and ask yourself one question before you open your mouth. Is this response for me, or is this response for them? If it is for you, meaning it will make you feel better in the moment, it is almost certainly the wrong move. If it is for the situation, meaning it will actually move things forward, then speak from that place. The pause is not weakness. It is positioning. Just like Musashi on that boat, shaping a wooden sword from an oar, calm as the water around him, knowing that the man on the shore was already losing. You could be that kind of calm, not because you do not feel the tension. Musashi felt it. Every great warrior feels it. But feeling it and being controlled by it are 2 completely different things. There is one final story about Musashi that I want to leave you with. Late in his life, he retreated to a cave called Rigondo to write the Book of 5 Rings. He was in his early 60s. He had lived an extraordinary life full of violence and victory and wandering. And in that cave, alone with his brush and ink, he wrote something that reads more like philosophy than a sword manual. He wrote, "Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world." He wrote, "Do nothing that is of no use." He wrote, "You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain." The man who had won 60 duels, who had defeated the greatest swordsman in Japan with a wooden oar, was not writing about technique at the end of his life. He was writing about stillness. He was writing about the kind of inner calm that does not come from having no enemies and no struggles. It comes from learning, slowly and often painfully, that you do not have to swing at everything that comes at you. Some battles you win by simply not losing yourself in them. Now, I want to hear from you. Think about a moment in your life where you reacted too fast, where you let emotion take the wheel, and it cost you something. Drop that story in the comments below. Not to relive it, but to Italiano, because the people in this community are here to learn and grow. And your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear right now. If this video landed with you, share it with one person who needs to hear the Musashi Rule. And if you are not already subscribed to Inspire with Stories, now is the time. Every week we bring you this kind of content, real stories, real lessons, the kind of thinking that actually changes how you move through the world. Stay still. Stay sharp. And remember, the calmest person in the room is almost always the most dangerous one.